Hi, I am Valentina from Tourists with Kids. Welcome to the new episode of Home to Homeschool. And we have here Nicole, our guest. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for doing this. You are really not new to this. You're a professional in homeschooling.
I wouldn't say I'm a professional, but thank you.
Would you like to shortly introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you for having me. My name's Nicole. You can find me on the Instagram, Coley Ray. We are from the United States. We live in southern Arkansas, and I have two kids. My son is about to turn 9, and my daughter just turned 6. And we never thought we would be homeschooling, but we've found that that's the journey that we're on, and we've been homeschooling from the very beginning.
Great. So you have two kids, basically, that you have to follow the curriculum and the resources.
Yeah.
So, Nicole, how do you keep your children motivated, or how do you motivate them to really learn all that they need to learn?
Oh, that's such a good question. It's definitely something that tends to ebb and flow. There's a rise and fall to the motivation, just like for us, right? With our own careers or our own things that we're taking care of, there's a rise and fall with motivation. But for our family, pretty early on in our journey, I discovered what's called interest-led learning or curiosity-led learning. And so a lot of the education that we're doing, I'm trying to, in a way, light the flame of their curiosity, and then it's their curiosity that keeps driving what we're doing. So an example of that is we do a lot of hands-on learning. So rather than sitting down with a textbook and me just reading the textbook to them, we're doing something hands-on, or I'm not saying anything and I'm introducing the topic to them on their own, and then it's their interest and their curiosity that's driving that. And at least for us, I have found that makes the motivation last a little bit longer because in a way they're driving their education.
Yeah. So does it mean, for instance, you let them also pick their schedule, from what they want to start, the topics?
In a way, so we do follow a curriculum, and there's actually I pull from 3 or 4 different curriculums. I think a lot of times when people begin homeschooling, it can be a little bit overwhelming, right? You get on the internet and you look up homeschooling. There are so many curriculums to pick from; it can be overwhelming. And so what works for us is I've narrowed it down to a Charlotte Mason style education. As kind of our umbrella theory for what we're doing. And then our curriculums kind of fall under that. So I do have, I don't have a written lesson plan every day, but I do know the topics that we're going to cover and the subjects we're going to cover. But then within that, they have room to chase whatever bunny trails they want to go down.
And that's great. So it's also very child-centered.
Yeah, yep. So it's very we still do a lot of learning, but for us it's through really rich literature, really good stories, not necessarily through textbooks. And then we tend to dive deep in a lot of our studies, so they're not quite unit studies. Like for example, right now we're doing a study on insects that is really broad, but it's also really deep, and we're marching through that really slowly, so we can really gain a lot from that. So the overarching umbrella is for our science study is insects, but then within that, if there's an insect that one of my children really shows a lot of interest in, then we'll dive deep and study that insect.
Is this the structure how you proceed also with your 9-year-old? So he's in the 3rd grade then?
He's in 3rd grade, yep. Yeah. He's actually almost done with 3rd grade, and it's the same structure for him. So the way that we break our week out, if this is helpful, we start with, we tend to do school 4 days a week, so Monday through Thursday. And our longest school days are 3 hours, and that's covering work with both of my kids, because early on, I learned the hard way that you cannot replicate the public school or private school environment at home, and trying to do your school day from 8 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon just is not feasible for anybody. So our school days are 3 hours, and then we have our subjects we cover every day, such as poetry, reading, math. Those are the 3 core ones that are every day. And then each day of the week has a different topic we dive a little bit deeper in. So Mondays are geography, Tuesdays are history, Wednesday is our nature study day, and then Thursday is art and music.
This can be quite challenging, the homeschooling, and then you have the household, then you have your daily life, and so there are definitely also obstacles and challenges in homeschooling.
Yes, there absolutely are. And I think early on, I was again surprised because I tried to replicate what I thought was the public school environment or a school environment. I tried to replicate that at home and was surprised when it didn't work. And along with that, I've also was surprised at the challenges that did arrive, because the reality is I'm taking care of doing school, but I also have our home. We're not a full-time travel family. My kids and I do travel for 3 weeks at a time or so, but we do have a home, and I still need to care for our home, and there's cooking, and there's cleaning, and there's laundry, and there's my own work with writing. There's a lot that needs to get accomplished, and so it was really easy to get frustrated because I felt like there was a lot of balls that I was dropping, and we would either have a really great day at school and nothing else would get done at home, or everything would get done at home and we did not get any school done. So it's a balance that is tricky to figure out.
And also your role is not the role of the teacher. That makes it a little bit, tricky.
It does, because you still want, to me, early on in our homeschool, we discovered an organization called Wild and Free, which is not, it's not any particular curriculum. It's more of just a gathering of like-minded homeschool families that are really cherishing this journey. And something that I really was encouraged by is within this Wild and Free community, there's so much of a priority placed on the connection with your kids and not necessarily the curriculum. And so I always try to keep that in my mind, that if we've reached the point in our school day where there's tears from anyone, or I'm frustrated or they're frustrated, it's okay to set the books aside, because to me, my relationship with them as mom is far more important than teacher. So it's a hard line to walk, because I don't ever want them to come out of this homeschool journey with bad memories of maybe mom was such a really hard teacher, or we had a great education but no relationship with our mom. So it's definitely a hard line to walk.
Yeah, but that's also the beauty of education. It's not only the knowledge, but you're basically coaching them, or you are guiding them in the personal development progress.
Which is scary, but exciting too.
That's true. It's a big responsibility, but yeah, you can build up really the values and the norms of the personality.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome, for instance, the moments of challenges? Or is this where you just take a pause and just go simplify your day?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most mature thing that I have learned as a homeschool parent is to recognize when we need to take that pause, because sometimes it can be kind of tricky to notice that and to catch yourself before you start getting upset or overwhelmed. And so just learning, and actually now we've been at this for 6 years, and my husband is really good at noticing that I'm getting to that really overwhelmed state, and that's where he's working from home now because of current world circumstances, but normally he's not home during the day. And but when he can get home at night, he's able to step in and say, you know what, I'm going to take the kids for a bike ride or a walk, or we're going to go run errands so you can have some time alone. And so that's the most mature thing that I feel like I've been able to do, is just really pull back. And so when I can clue into that I'm starting to get overwhelmed or the kids are overwhelmed, we just hit pause and go outside, go for a walk, go outside. we all go to a separate part of the house for a minute. And usually that helps to reset.
It's also important to put away the perfectionism, no? Or striving for doing everything, doing it as good as you can, and you're just a human being then at the end.
Yes, that's so true. And it's hard. It's hard to let go of that. I feel like in my own schooling, and I'm not necessarily a type A type of person, but when things need to be done, I want them to be done well. And I learned pretty early on I had to let a lot of that go. I don't have a design-worthy, magazine-worthy home, but you know what? We live here. We're here all the time. My kids are thriving in our home environment that I've been able to create. And again, I think it's a necessary step that when you start this homeschool journey, everybody has to walk through those first few weeks or years that are kind of hard. But then once you learn to let go of that perfectionism, you'll start to see a lot of beauty in the journey.
This is a beautifully said. Yes, it's so nice. It's so true.